Hello, everybody, and welcome to Deviscatus. It's been a really good day for the old Devster today. Um, but today I'm here to talk to you about our earliest memories. So, my earliest memory is a little bit of a strange one. Can't remember where exactly it was, but I'm pretty certain it was my Bubba's house, Babushka for short, which is um Slavic for grandma essentially. So I remember being there. I was sitting on the carpet or on the floor in her house, and I was playing with a little troll type of thing. It had like little troll hands and feet and stuff like that, and a little troll face, but like it had stretchy hair. Like the hair all around it was stretchy, and it was like almost all the way around it in kind of like a ball shape, and it was stretchy, I feel like. And I remember that, and I remember anytime I tried to look outside, it was far too bright, and like it fucking blinded me. Like it was just like the brightest thing. It was like imagining like headlights coming at you from every window, essentially. I must have been real young at that time. If I had to guess, I was probably 1 or 2 years old, but I don't know. It was really young when I had that memory. Like latest it could have been was 3 years old, but I don't even know, man. Like, is that house that they had? I don't even remember it because I basically got told from what I described about it that they were like, "Oh yeah, you must have remembered that house. That's crazy that you remembered that." Yeah, because they haven't lived there in quite some time. But yeah, uh, I had fun remembering that little thing there. God damn, sorry, I got distracted because I noticed that all my friends are sitting in a Discord voice chat thingy. But yeah, no, that was my earliest memory for you guys. It's a very short video today, but you know what? It's been a very good day for me, and I don't think you really need to have me here all that much today. So yeah, maybe I'll see you tomorrow.
Hello everyone, welcome to Deviscatus, and today we're entering the mental domain that is my mind. Because we are exploring our earliest memories, and there is a difference between an early memory and what I would call a standard memory, because we could do a whole video on memories of my teen years or university life or a whole other list of things. That could be its own topic, and maybe we will do that. But I want to talk about those weird early memories that you can sort of remember but not quite clearly. So, to use a metaphor, a standard memory for me is like this flame that took a few clicks to make, but we have it. It can sometimes take a little bit of time for it to come back to. Sometimes it disappears entirely, but eventually the flame sticks and it's there. And I would say that is the memory, it's the story, it exists. And sometimes with the wind, it flickers a bit, but it's still there. And that flickering represents how time or emotions of a situation can influence it and make some of the details a bit hazy. So then we have an early memory, those little sparks of something, and they kind of appear, but not quite what you want. It's like, how did I get here? And even at a young age, you might be thinking, how did I get here? What happened? It's like I was here and then I was there. What is happening? So that is what I want to focus on, because some of those have influenced me as a person to this day, and probably will continue to influence. I think there's a reason that a lot of therapy starts with childhood, but I think there's sort of childhood memories, and then there's early childhood memories, the little things that you don't really remember, but they have influenced you. So let me start with something that is foundationally a part of me, which is my fear of cats. I wish I could go back to the exact moment to find out what happened here, because I think I'm almost confident that an early memory of mine is that I was either bitten or scratched by a cat, and that is why I am afraid of cats. And I think it would be really interesting to see that happen and see something that fundamentally has changed my life. Because I'm afraid of a lot of animals and touching animals, but especially cats. But speaking about something that fundamentally has influenced who I am, there is my early gaming days. My mum and dad have told me, like, hey, you used to like pick up your brother's Game Boy and you used to play that, and that's why we had to get you your version so that you both could play. And I think that's really interesting because I couldn't tell you that I was actually playing it, but I do remember picking up the Game Boy, and that was long before they told me any of that. Like, I just remember playing his. And then also, I remember watching my uncle in my gran and grandpa's house play Jak and Daxter on the PS2, which is a classic game. I'm going to be playing it again in a few weeks, and I can't wait because it's been a few years. I think this game's wonderful, but I remember my uncle, I was sitting on his lap, and he was playing the game and I was watching him. I don't remember how I got there. And even when I was young, I don't remember how I got there. I was in that room. The fun thing is, that is the copy from when my uncle was playing it. There's that. But then also, that is still my grandpa's house. So I think that's incredible. But that is just, hey, I can go back there, and yeah, there's probably no PS2 there. Maybe there is, actually. I should find out. But actually, no, you know what? I think my cousin stole the PS2 and the N64, so that's a whole other story. That's a recent memory. But yeah, I think that's really interesting that I can remember that, and that is an early memory, probably one of the earliest memories of actually remembering a game as it was happening. And yes, I formed many different memories. I remember the day I beat Jak and Daxter for the first time. It was snowing, and I was like, oh my goodness. It was so rare to get snow. I mean, maybe it wasn't. It just was the first bit of snow that I remember seeing as a child. I remember that, but that isn't an early memory. That is an after memory. So it's just interesting that I have that spark, that little flame appeared. But there's one final memory I want to talk about today, and it involves a special guest to appear. So how about we get Coop on the screen? Coop, everyone! Hi everyone, yeah, it's me, Coop, yeah! Alright, Scott. Okay, you're sort of there, still moving your lips, but that's okay. So, Coop is a childhood puppet. Well, not a puppet, but I see what you mean. He is a childhood puppet of mine, and don't know where my family got him. I imagine it was something my brother got at some point. But I remember my mum, she was puppeteering Coop, and I was sticking my hand in Coop's mouth, and I remember she just bit down in a very hard way, and that made me terrified of Coop for years. And Coop would sit in my room, because I was the youngest at that point, and he would just sit there with his mouth like that, and I was like, oh my goodness, I'm terrified. Coop didn't actually have a name for that, at least as far as I know. I only named Coop for Devis Scottis. So you're telling me that I was just a puppet for that long? That is true. You were just a puppet for that long. I've always wanted, once I got over my fear of Coop, probably when I was like 12, I was like, oh. I remember sitting on the toilet and I had this idea, like, I should use this monkey puppet. It was actually a chimp, but I should use the chimp puppet for something, and I never could find a thing. And even a few years ago, I was like, I'm going to make a video of this like puppet, and it was just too difficult to do on my own. As I've clearly seen with Devis Scottis, but finally I had the chance to name Coop, and then find a use for him. So yeah, I'll put you down now, Coop. Yeah, you should have put me down ages ago, mate. It's been weird that you've been holding me. But yeah, I was afraid of Coop because he bit me, and yeah, there's all sorts of weird early memories, and that's just like that flash is like the fear of Coop. I'm not afraid of him anymore. I think he's really funny looking now, like with that open expression and all that. But yeah, early memories are just interesting. That we can remember the Flash. That even though it's all those years ago, but even at the time it was like, what the hell was that? It's like all these like little moments of time, and isn't just this sounds so wanky to say, but like, isn't it weird that we live life and we have these moments, and everyone has this different moment and experience, but we're all unified by the same sort of laws that govern our body. Like everyone is obviously different, and everyone has like, I've got a great memory and things like that. But we all have just these little moments where we can connect and be like, oh, I remember this weird thing. Maybe it's not the same flashes. I do not expect that you were bitten or scratched by a cat and you are like, I'm terrified of cats. I imagine that not most people, but that will only be a fraction of the people in this world that have had that experience where they are afraid of cats. Like, it's not going to be every single person. But I think everyone has that, like, I remember that, but I don't know the context of it, like, just that flash. It's incredible. And, hey, as always, if you've enjoyed today's Devon Scottish video, why don't you try it? Why don't you just think about your earliest memories? And again, I don't know what Devon will do today. Maybe he'll do just childhood memories, which again, for me would be a whole different story. I would tell you about the fact that I used to go to a school that is just like Hogwarts. And I had like all sorts of like adventures there. But that is memories that I can tell the whole story for, not just random flashes of whatever. So I hope you've enjoyed this Devon Scottus, and I'm going to give you a random flash of Coop! Yay! It's Coop time! It's Coop time.